Welcome to Instructional Technology, podcasts and tutorials from the School of Education at High Point University. In this episode, we will be discussing how to embed a Pinterest pin onto a Google Site wiki. Let's get started. Here we are on our Google Site wiki on a Pinterest page that we have created. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually click on the pencil and go in to edit this page. And when I'm working with pages on the Google Site Wiki, I like to choose the layout that is one column or two column. Not one column or two column simple, but one column or two column. This gives me several different places to write information, which kind of makes it easy to organize and a little bit easier to keep it nice and neat. So if you're going to be working on your Google Site Wiki page for Pinterest, what you're probably going to want to do is maybe in the first block, you're going to tell about Pinterest, which is what it is and how it works. Okay, so that's your reflection about Pinterest. This is probably going to be third person because it's totally objective. You are just letting somebody know that you know what Pinterest is and how it works. In the next block, just again, so that we can kind of keep things nice and neat, you're going to tell how you would use Pinterest. So tell how you would use Pinterest as a teacher. Keep in mind that Pinterest has an age limit of 13. You must be at least 13 in order to be able to be on Pinterest and to pin things. Now that doesn't mean that you have to be at least 13 in order for somebody to show you a pin that goes to a link, but you have to be at least 13 to be able to be on Pinterest. So keep that in mind as you're writing your reflection. If you teach kindergarten, you aren't going to say that you're going to get your students on Pinterest and have them putting on pins. But you really want to tell how you would use Pinterest as a teacher, keeping in mind that we use Pinterest as a teacher to really gather resources for the various subjects that we teach. So as a part of this description, or you may do it in a separate paragraph, whichever works best for you, you also want to tell about your 3 boards. And when you're doing that, you want to be sure to include the links to the boards and make sure they're visible. Use the whole name of the board. So if mine's called Science Lesson Plan Ideas, that's the text I want to link to it. Not just science, but the whole word Science Lesson Plan Ideas in title case, because it's going to make it much easier to find. So be sure to include the links to the boards and describe what they contain, and perhaps point out your favorite pens. So as you're pointing out your favorite pens, these would be the ones to embed. Okay, so those are the things that you're going to put on your wiki page. Now, let's just review how to do a link. So let's say I'm going to go with math lesson ideas is my word. So now I'm going to go to my Pinterest page and I'm going to go to my boards and I'm going to find the board that says math lesson ideas. And if you'll notice when I mouse over it, math lesson ideas becomes underlined. If I then right click on that, and remember I'm the fan of the right mouse button, I'm going to click copy link address. Now I'm going to go back to my Google Site Wiki page and highlight math lesson ideas. Then I'm going to come up here and click on the little chain link, looks like a chain link fence, click on that. Make sure I click web address because this is a web address. I'm going to paste that in, take a look at it and make sure it makes sense. Yes, this is Pinterest, my page, math lesson ideas, that does make sense. Click open this link in a new window and then click OK. And that's how I put in the link to my board. So, and I can do this in the middle of a sentence. Math lesson ideas is, my board on math lessons. Please write something that sounds better than that. I'm just kind of showing how this would work and not actually writing what my reflection would be. All right. So, the last thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to perhaps embed one of your favorite pens. So, I'm going to go to my science one. and pick a pen that I really like. And I really like this one that has oobleck in it because I just think that's a really cool picture. So that's the picture I want to embed. So in order to embed it, I must click the little embed code symbol. Now remember, you always know the embed code symbol because you get the greater than, less than. Actually, I think it's less than, greater than sign. That's the way it is here. So I'm going to click embed. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to click on the sizes because 600 is really large and I kind of want it to be a little bit smaller than that. So I tend to go with about 200 as being my maximum size. Notice that it automatically adjusts the bottom. And then I'm going to highlight this code and copy it. Now I go back to my page on my wiki site and I click in the box where I want this pen to go. Now it's going to be best if you've already got your text in place. Sometimes that works better. So think about writing your reflections first and doing your pens last. It's also going to be easiest because we are embedding a pen. We're not just sticking in a picture. That's different. We're embedding a pen. So it's going to be best if that pen is at the beginning and at the far left. It's just going to work the easiest. So that's where I'm going to stick mine. I'm going to stick it where I've got some text so I can kind of show you how to edit that out. So in order to put that embed code in there, I must click on the HTML button. So I make sure that I'm in my box and I click the HTML button. And notice that here I see in code all the things that I've put in. So I'm just going to hit enter one time just to create a little space. And now I'm going to paste that code that I copied into my box. Then I'm going to hit update. And now I have my picture in here. But if you'll notice, my text is not wrapped. And so one of the things we want is to wrap the text so it looks all nice and professional. So I need to click on my picture, make sure it's small, it is, and then choose wrap on. When I choose wrap on, what tends to happen is it tends to put the little source code right up here at the beginning rather than underneath. So what we need to do to fix that is we really just need to delete that little code. So I'm going to delete that. It's giving credit to the source, but you can always put that in at the bottom. You can attach it. You don't really have to have, as long as you take care of it in some way, it's not really necessary to have that. And as soon as I deleted that, look, everything wrapped perfectly. There's my embedded link. My text looks nice, and I am good to go. Now I'm going to save this. And remember that one of the beautiful things about all of this is that this is actually not a picture, but the link to my pen. So when I click on it, I go to the link, and then when I click here, I actually go to the resource. So again, as we work on Pinterest, we are learning about Pinterest and how it works and how to do many things with it. We are gathering resources for the subjects that we teach so that we are building our knowledge base in that area. And then we are also working on our technology skills of how do we create a class website, how do we edit that website, how do we make it look really nice and neat and professional, how do we embed things, how do we link things, and how do we write things for things that are online. So we are covering a whole bunch of skills and a whole bunch of really useful knowledge as we work with Pinterest and then put things on our Google Site Wiki. That pretty much wraps up this episode. Remember, if you have any questions, be sure to ask.